Welcome to the second session of the Understanding Performance Management module. Remember, if you need any help at any time during the module, you can contact me on tracy@professionalfutures.com. For this session, you'll need the workbook and we'll be concentrating on pages 3 to 5, that's if you're following the accredited route. You'll also need set 2 of the slides and you're currently watching video 2 for this section. The aim of this section is to introduce you to the concept of performance management. Let's have a quick review. In session 1 we looked at the structure of the assignment guide, including the workbook and the topics addressed in each video. In this session we'll focus on performance management, including informal and formal assessment. By the end of the session you'll be able to explain what performance management is and why it's important to undertake. You'll be able to explain the value of informal assessment and you'll be able to explain the value of formal assessment. Turn to page 3 in your workbook where you'll find an introduction to performance management. Also on this page you'll find a quote from Brian Tracy, who states that the true measure of the value of any business leader and manager is performance. Now we know performance is critical to an organisation and is really important, and therefore we also know that performance management is important. So it's over to you for an activity which you can complete in the space provided on page 3. You're asked to create a definition for what performance management means within a business or an organisational context. So pause the video and have a go at creating your definition for performance management, and when you're ready, resume the video. If you research this term, you'll find many definitions for performance management. However, I'm using the one from Armstrong and Barron, and this was cited in the CIPD fact sheet on performance management, which you can access using this link. Armstrong and Barron state that performance management is a process which contributes to the effective management of individuals and teams in order to achieve high levels of organisational performance. As such, it establishes shared understanding about what is to be achieved and an approach to leading and developing people which will ensure that it is achieved. They go on to stress that performance management is a strategy which should relate to every activity in the organisation, set in the context of its human resource policies, the culture, the style and the communication systems. The nature of the strategy depends on the organisational context and can vary from organisation to organisation. So in other words, performance management should be strategic, which means that it aligns with broad issues and long-term goals of the organisation. And it should also be integrated, which means that it should link various aspects of the business and how people are managed within. So now you've had a chance to think about what performance management is, it's over to you for another activity. And here you're asked to consider what should an effective performance management system include. So if you already have an effective performance management system in your organisation, you simply need to think of the stages included in the programme. However, if you think your performance management system could be improved, or in fact you don't even have a performance management system in your organisation, then now is time for you to think of the stages or the steps that you would include in an effective performance management system. Now if you're following the accredited route and have the workbook, you'll find space to record your answers on page 4. When you've had a chance to come up with your answer, you can resume the video and we'll start to have a look at some of the stages that I've identified. An effective performance management system should include performance improvement, development, and managing behaviour. Now, it wasn't me who identified these elements. This came from the CIPD fact sheet on performance management. They state that performance improvement throughout the organisation is needed in respect of individuals, teams, and organisational effectiveness. They also include development, stating that unless there's a continuous development of individuals and teams, then performance will not improve. And the third point of managing behaviour is to ensure that individuals are encouraged to behave in a way that allows and fosters better working relationships. Now, the fact that the concept of performance management includes the word management suggests quite rightly that the process contributing to ensuring individual and organisational performance levels are achieved need to be managed, and the responsibility for these processes rests with managers. Now, as a first line manager, you have a major role to play, as you will have direct reports whom you will be required to performance manage through performance assessment and appraisal. You'll also have a key role in dealing with any cases of underperformance. Staying on page 4, it's over to you for another activity, and this time you're asked to think, what is the purpose and the value of performance assessment and appraisal? So again, if you're following the accredited route, you'll find space at the bottom of page 4 in your workbook to record your answers. So pause the video and have a think of the question, and when you're ready, resume the video and we'll have a look at the purpose and the value. Performance assessment and appraisal sits within a performance management system, and as such it offers us value in the form of opportunities to focus on work activities and goals. This helps us to identify performance which needs correcting. So there might be times when we can identify and correct existing performance issues and problems. It also gives us the opportunity to identify and recognise good performance, so we're able to motivate employees to continue to perform at high levels. Now, where performance hasn't been satisfactory, it enables managers to steer people to better future performance. So overall, a consistent and comprehensive and well implemented performance management system that incorporates effective assessment and appraisal will enhance the overall performance of the whole organisation. Informal performance assessment and appraisal is undertaken by line managers, and this is done on an ongoing basis throughout the whole of the formal reporting period. And the day-to-day working environment offers us numerous opportunities to engage with employees and to evaluate performance, and this means the feedback is regular. And feedback can be given through regular conversations or following an observation or a review of a particular task. And we know that we get significant benefits from informal appraisal because of the timely manner. And this is compared to the delayed feedback that we perhaps give as part of the formal appraisal process, which loses motivational impact and reduces the chance of behavioural change. So regular informal feedback to employees should mean that when the formal appraisal comes, then there's no surprises for them. It should be self-evident that right at the heart of delivery of effective informal feedback is the need for line managers to have good communication and interpersonal skills. The other aspect of assessment and appraisal is the formal performance assessment, and this formal performance assessment provides an evaluation of work performance over a period of time, and it usually includes an agreement on realistic expectations of performance. So it's valuable in that both parties understand what's realistic and what's expected of them. Once these goals have been agreed, they're usually set for a given assessment period. So for example, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or perhaps a year, and this will vary from organisation to organisation. It's also valuable because it gives us a formal method of being able to recognise achievement in the workplace and also for us to recognise individual contributions. It helps us to create valuable records of performance which we can use to capture both the employees' and the line manager's views. It then moves on to establish targets for improvement where appropriate. So I would suggest that there will always be targets for improvement. So whether an employee is currently underperforming and needs to improve to meet agreed performance levels, or whether the employee is overperforming and you would then establish a new target to continue to stretch and challenge them. It helps us to identify strengths that need to be improved upon, and it also helps us to identify problems and to provide time for us to discuss them. The final point is that it allows us to identify training and development needs, and we can move on to produce a training and development plan. And again, this would apply in all cases. So whether the person is underperforming and needs training and development to meet the agreed standards, or whether the person is overperforming and then needs training and development in the areas that can help to stretch and challenge them. So now we've had a chance to look at performance management, the value of formal assessment and the value of informal assessment. Go back to your answers and compare your thoughts to mine and see if there's anything that you missed out or anything that you identified that I missed. When you're ready, come back to the video and we'll complete this session. So during this session, you've been able to explain what performance management is and why it's important to undertake. You then went on to have a look at the value of informal assessment and also the value of formal assessment, where you identified some of the component parts. That brings us to the end of this session, so join me when you're ready for the next one, which is session 3, and we'll be looking at the role of the first line manager in the performance management process. And remember, if you have any queries including extra support or need for tutorials, then you can contact us on info@professionalfutures.com.